I perceive in forbidden archaeology an important work of thoroughgoing scholarship and intellectual adventure. Forbidden archaeology ascends and descends into the realms of the human construction of scientific fact and theory. Postmodern territories that historians, philosophers, and sociologists of scientific knowledge are investigating with increasing frequency. That is from the foreword to the massive tome, The Hidden History of the Human Race, Forbidden Archaeology by Michael A. Cremo and Richard L. Thompson. Excellent work. As you can see, it's massive and very well documented. The case for human antiquity stretching way beyond orthodox archaeology, and Michael Cremo will be my guest tonight, Friday, March 11th, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on my Blog Talk Radio show, The Stench of Truth. So join us if you're interested in human antiquity, human origins, hidden archaeology, suppressed facts, that sort of thing. It should be a very interesting discussion. Hello and welcome to another edition of The Stench of Truth. And I just want to comment. The governor of Wisconsin, Scott Walker, who is completely bought and paid for by billionaires, which of course right-wing stiff people don't care. If a billionaire buys a politician, that's fine. But if a union contributes even 1 penny to anybody, that's somehow tantamount to criminality and communism. So I don't get that logic, but hey, you know. So the Koch brothers buy Walker. He forces through the bill stripping it of any spending obligations in violation of the Open Meetings Law to deny collective bargaining rights to state workers and unions. So that appears to be a done deal, and it looks like it's going to pass everywhere and be accepted. So this is the beginning of a nationwide trend to attack unions and to enact a right to work, so-called right to work, which is just a union-busting effort. Now, of course, this is all nonsense and bullshit, and I want to bring up a very simple illustration for everybody, okay? And I'm sure those of you with intelligence will probably have already seen this before and understand it. You benefit from unions every day. Every single day in everything you do. Even if you're standing there watching this video or sitting there watching this video right now and you oppose unions for public workers, whatever your stance is. You take your right-wing stiffitude and you live with it, okay? You benefit from unions every day because what you pay for your cable bill, what you pay for your electricity, what you pay for your gas, whatever it is, whatever kind of utilities you have, whatever kind of services that you buy based on a collective union of people. Otherwise, you'd have to pay based on every single parameter of your house. How far are you away from the road? How much line do they have to run to get to your house? How much more energy is required for them to provide that service to your particular location? And God help you if you live way out in the country somewhere. You'd be paying 10 times as much as someone who lived in a city for the very same service. But you don't. And you don't because you belong to a union of people. And that is the collective customer base. And that's all unions are. And I'm still waiting for someone to explain to me how the unions force any government or any entity for that matter into accepting a contract that they don't like. Did they put knives to their throats? Do they tell them, we're going to blow up the state if you don't give us what we want? I just don't get it. So, anyway, just think about that, okay? And understand that what we have here in this country is not capitalism. It's not any kind of free market. It's totally controlled. It's crony capitalism. It's predatory capitalism. So for any of you who think that capitalism is the answer, free market is the answer, you need to realize that there is no free market. There never will be a free market. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Because there are always going to be advantages for one particular industry, country, group of people, whatever. And that can never change. Therefore, some will have absolute advantages, some will have perceived advantages. Therefore, there is no free market. There never will be. You have to understand that. There is a role for government to play. And that is trying to take away the advantages to allow for a freer market. Not a free market, but a freer market. So before you jump on the bandwagon of thinking that it's time to bust unions, I still want to point out a very real fact, and that is that the unions, no matter what they do, I don't care, what they've done or what kind of benefits you perceive they have as being so much greater than your own, if you happen to be anti-union, it's a drop in a bucket. All their pensions combined don't come to a small percentile of what Wall Street and corporations have ripped off from this country. And no one is going to go after them. Why? Because corporations and the rich and Wall Street have bought off politicians. But according to those who are on the far right of the perspective, for rich people, Wall Street and corporations to buy politicians in order to ensure that nothing is done to make them pay their fair share, that's perfectly acceptable. But when a couple people, a few people, 10, 20, 50, 100, 1,000 people get together and form a union and attempt to influence political action, that somehow is communism. Well, what's this other thing over here where the corporations can do whatever they want? They can buy politicians. The Koch brothers can buy Scott Walker and completely control his activity. What do we call that? You know what? That's socialism too. And guess what else it's called? Fascism. And that's what we have in this country. And don't forget, people, fascism is socialism. So if you're going to be against socialism, you better be against fascism too. Fascism is where the government serves the needs of corporations. And in this case, the corporations run the government so that all the benefits go back to corporations and, by extension, the rich. And banks, of course. They're in that mix. So the next time you want to attack socialism, you better think about what this country is right now, and that's corporate fascist. And fascism is socialism. Go look it up. Look it up. And if I had to choose between fascism, where all the benefits of the government go to corporations of the rich and banks, or the other kind of socialism, where the government provides for the needs of the greater majority of people, if I had to choose between those two, I'd choose the one where the government serves the interests of the people. Call me crazy. But I don't like either of those solutions. There's this third solution, and that is the American way. And you can see some of that in my platform for the future. The American way is different. We can do everything different. We can make everything better. And we can approach things with the full knowledge of where everybody else has failed to make our particular country and our particular political philosophy and our particular government better. If you want to retake the government, realize that you're retaking it from fascism, which is a form of socialism. So anybody who's against socialism better start fighting the banks and the corporations and their undue influence in the government, because that's exactly what we have. We have socialism. Most specifically, fascism. Thank you. Good night.